Yesterday, we heard from Kate Bowles, a state senator who's trying to become the first Democrat to win the first congressional district in more than a half-century. While Bowles is the favorite, she's not the only one in the race. Babs Ramsey was actually the first to jump in and attempt to take Republican Jeff Fortenberry's seat. Ramsey is running to the left of Bowles, positioning herself as a progressive. And as reporter John Kipper tells us, she's a bit of a trendsetter.
Babs Ramsey has already made history, being the first transgender woman to run for Congress in Nebraska. She tells me that simply running for federal office was a huge step forward for the LGBT community.
I have a transgender support group that I co-founded here in Bellevue, and I met with them and I was like, I think I'm going to do this, and they were just ecstatic because they seeing a trans woman run in Nebraska, they're like, what? This would be amazing.
While Babs Ramsey may be a little bit different from your average person running for Congress, she's preaching a similar message that the United States needs to improve their healthcare system. Unlike her opponent Kate Bowles, she favors Medicare for all, similar to what Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren preached during their campaigns.
Passing that, we can join the rest of the industrialized world by finally having healthcare recognized as a human right. Be able to go to the doctor and not have to worry about, is this going to be covered? Can I go to this doctor? Anything like that.
Along with healthcare, she says she hears about climate change from voters in District 1. She advocates for a Green New Deal, saying in Nebraska she wants the federal government to pay ag workers to farm sustainably.
To say, hey, if you're not already doing this, we're going to pay you to do sustainable farming practices, to do sustainable ranching practices. And then the ones that are already doing it, then they're just going to get paid for it.
Ramsey, who lives in Bellevue, also has some outside-the-box ideas, including another one taken from the Democratic presidential race. Universal basic income was preached by Andrew Yang on the campaign trail. It would give $1,000 to every American adult every month, something Ramsey says would be especially useful in the time of coronavirus.
People are able to still provide for their families, purchase food, make sure that their mortgage or their rent is covered.
The path to victory is not easy for Ramsey, who hasn't raised close to the money Bowles has. She says she's made up for that by spending time on the road, going to the rural areas of District 1, which spans Lincoln and much of eastern Nebraska, outside of Omaha.
I think people being able to see a representative that has lived off of SNAP benefits before, has lost their job, has raised 2 kids, all of these things, they can relate to that.
In Bellevue, John Kipper, 3 News Now.
Ramsey says if she wins the primary, her plan to beat Fortenberry would be to drive up the youth vote, especially in Lincoln and Bellevue.